evening once again to everyone. Now I'm going to share screen. I'll make it a triple whammy, not even double whammy. Let's see how it works now. Let me share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet. Not
Not
yet.
even now?
No.
It just says Nitin Kaushal has started screen sharing, but we cannot see anything.
Basically, internet is slowing down everything.
Okay. That's not
Do you
fun
want to
for
send
sure.
it? Nitinji, do you want to send the
What
PDF?
happened?
Now we can see. It just, yeah.
No, it will not work. I try to send it, then there will be another load on internet for a while, and then are you able to see it now?
Yeah, we can see the first slide.
Coming up?
Yes.
Okay, that's what you need to see, right?
No,
Now
no.
we'll see how that goes. Okay, Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. We'll start with our opening prayers, and then we will start with our discussion as well. I hope you were able to hear me so far. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat, Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Did it all go well? This whole shloka
Yes.
and video, audio, screen? Okay. Just stop me, okay? Because I will not come to know. If it doesn't, then we'll try something different. Okay. Is the screen transition happening smoothly? Moving to the soul soup?
Not yet.
How about?
It's
Okay,
fine.
good.
Yes.
So we have been talking about, as our soul soup segment, success, happiness, and fulfillment series. And we spoke about stress, right? Stress is a common anathema of the modern world. And what is the remedy for stress? We started off by saying that stress is not caused by hard work. It is caused by our attachment to a particular outcome or our fear of not getting that outcome, particular outcome that we think is favorable. That is what causes stress. And Lord Krishna has given this formula 5,000 years back that you do Karam Yoga. When you do it with that spirit, there's absolutely no stress. Now, what is Karam Yoga is what we have been talking about. So let's build on where we left yesterday. We said Karam Yoga is, of course, we have had a 1 week long discussion on this in Bhagavad Gita 2.47. We are not going to spend that much of time, but we'll briefly touch upon it so that we can keep building this as well in parallel to what we are discussing in Bhagavad Gita. And of course, we're going to revisit that topic sometime in future as well. Now, Karam Yoga is the art of working in divine consciousness. Now, this is a pretty loaded word, right? Working in divine consciousness. What does that mean? What it means is when we are able to keep the mind on divine consciousness, in divine consciousness, there's a typo, and continue doing unworldly duties alongside. So, Karam Yoga doesn't mean Bhagavad Gita, if you look at it. All the spirituality is all about call to action. It's not about running away from the world. It's not about giving up our jobs, whether you're a doctor, you're an IT engineer, you're a householder, you're a businessman. You gently continue to do your profession, but bring in God consciousness. That is essentially what Karam Yoga is. Now, you're not doing it for the sake of your own enjoyment. When we do for the sake of our own enjoyment, that results in stress. But when you're doing it for the pleasure of God, not only will you do your best, but also that stress aspect is put in perspective. Now, many people think that, yoga, the puja aspect is limited to that 1 hour or 30 minutes that we spend in our temple. Right? We do that morning, in the evening, 2 times a day, or maybe 3 times a day, some people do. And that devotion, a little time in the puja room, and after that, God is forgotten. Now it's like time to make way for God, for the worldly things. And then the daily chores, they are carried out with an impure mind, not with a God consciousness anymore. And then we start resorting to desire, attachment, greed, pride, anxiety, all those things start making way in. What Karav Yoga is telling us, keeping our mind attached to God. Right? Easier said than done, but that's the practice we need to do. That oh yeah, what no matter where we go, what we are doing, it's done as an offering to him. And we don't divide our activities. Okay, this is puja time and this is my work time. Everything, nothing is secular, everything becomes devotional. Right? I earn more so that I can give more. I want to climb up the ladder in my corporate hierarchy so that I can put the skills endowed to me by God to the best of my ability, and I can do seva much more effectively. So everything starts becoming devotional at that point, and it becomes an offering to the Supreme Lord. And the technically, if you look at it, it helps us rise above the material gunas. If when we are operating, invariably we'll be in those three material gunas, which is rajasic, tamasic, and sattvic. All three are binding. At best, you can have noble intentions, but unless you are doing it as a matter of duty to God, you are not going gunatit, you are not transcending those gunas, and you are still incurring the binding results of those karmas. So that is what Karam Yoga is. Now that question may crop up, that how do I implement Karam Yoga? Because this is what I do on a day-to-day basis. So we'll pick up some examples around it, right? It could be as mundane as taking care of your health. Why do you need to take care of health? One way is vanity. I need to look good. I need to be younger. Other thing is, all right, I need to stay healthy for a longer period of time so that I can invest my time in devotion and get closer to the goal of my life. That becomes devotional. The other thing was bhog. You're doing it for yourself. Now you're doing it for the pleasure of God, aligning to the purpose of life. You
Sorry to
could be
interrupt,
cooking.
Nitinji. Your audio
Mhm.
is good, but your video is like literally getting stuck in between. But audio is good. That's fine, right?
So what I'll do is let me turn off my video for a bit, or you can live with that blurred video. That's okay, right?
Okay. Just
If
wanted to
audio
let
is
you
a
know. Yeah.
problem, yeah. If audio is a problem, then it becomes
Sure.
problematic. Video
Sure.
is okay. If
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
becomes too much, then let me know,
Sure.
and I'll give this feedback to Reliance chairman that when you really need it, it doesn't work in some of the areas. There are still some blind spots Geo has. Okay. So that is the whole idea. Now let's move on to we will continue to build on this concept. It's a pretty deep concept. Doesn't make sense when you hear it for the first time. Yeah, right? It's like more questions than answers. Okay, what is this God consciousness and what are we talking about? So we'll continue to build on it because this is the key to building warding off stress. Let's get to the shloka and continue our discussion from where we left. I'm going to recite it. We'll pick up a few hands to who can recite as well. श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानम् तत्परः संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति. Okay, let's take a few hands.
Okay. Sandhya, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानम् तत्परः संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
Nice, thank you, Sandhya. Let's take a few more hands.
Ramya ji, please go ahead.
राधे राधे श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानम् तत्परा संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परं शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति. Thank you. राधे राधे.
Nice,
Uday
thank you.
ji, Radhe Radhe.
राधे राधे श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानम् तत्पर संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेण अधिगच्छति. राधे राधे.
Sam ji,
Okay, thank
Radhe
you.
Radhe, please go
Let's
ahead.
राधे राधे श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानं तत्परा संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परं शान्तिम् अचिरेण अधिगच्छति. राधे राधे.
Aparna ji,
Thank
please
you.
go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparah sanyatendriyah jnanam labdva param shantim achirenadhigacchati. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Very
Go
nice.
ahead, Riya ji.
Increase the number of hands. Let's get started here.
Riya ji.
Radhe
Need a
Radhe.
couple more.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानं तत्परसंयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति. राधे
Thanks,
राधे.
Riya ji. Thank you.
Please
Take the
go
last
ahead.
3 hands.
Ragi ji.
Get started.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानं तत्परा संयतेन्द्रिया ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति. Thank you. Radhe
Thank you,
Radhe.
Ragi ji.
Manisha ji.
Radhe.
Please go ahead.
राधे राधे श्रद्धावान्
Radhe
लभते
Radhe.
ज्ञानं तत्परं संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति. राधे राधे.
Please go ahead.
Wonderful. Thank
Shyam
you.
ji.
Last 2 hands.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatpara sanyatendriyah jnanam labdhava param shantim achirenadhigacchati. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Wonderful. Very nice.
Awesome.
Good to see. And Diva, welcome to India.
Thank you.
Father, daughter. Wonderful. Very nice. Good to see you.
Wonderful. Very nice.
All right. Last but not the least, Amritavani ji, please go ahead.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe everyone. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparasanyatendriyah jnanam labdva param shantim achirenadhigacchati. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. So let's get started. In this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying those whose faith is deep and who have practiced controlling their mind and senses attain divine knowledge. Through such transcendental knowledge, they quickly attain everlasting supreme peace. And we started with talking about faith. Faith usually carries a bit of a negative connotation. People, you have faith and it's all driven by faith, and people say we are of scientific temperament, we need proof and everything. But the fact of the matter is nobody is without faith. Everybody is practicing faith in some form or manner. That's what we spoke about yesterday. And faith is an essential ingredient on this path, right? But it is not blind faith. It is an intelligent faith. It all starts with faith. Let's do a quick recap and then we will continue on the building block, on the discussion that we had. So we said that these are the building blocks of our personality, right? We all have certain kind of knowledge activated in our head that drives our belief system, that drives our value system, that drives our action, that becomes our habit and our personality. So it all starts with the knowledge, faith, belief that we have, right? They are kind of interrelated, one leads to another, but it's an important ingredient. And faith is something where you don't need an empirical evidence. You just know it is there. You start with that, right? And the important thing is to have a proper knowledge, foundation of knowledge in anything that we do, because if that foundation is not proper, then whatever you build on top of it will always be shaky. Are you seeing the presentation coming out clearly, Amrutavaniji? Okay. Audio is okay, right? That's all I care.
Yes,
That's
yes,
fine.
yes.
So that knowledge has to be that we cannot let that knowledge happen to us. See, knowledge is happening to us all the times. Our friends are telling us something. The advertisement is telling us something. This is where happiness lies. This is what you need to do. Our Google is telling us, marketing is telling us something. So there are assault of information from all quarters. And our Gyanendriyas and our senses are absorbing that knowledge like a sponge. We don't know where it is getting feeded. unless you are systematically acquiring it, that may actually become your belief system. And if it becomes your belief system, that will drive your personality and your day-to-day actions as well. That is how strong it is. Now, something as fundamental as having a solid foundation, we cannot simply let it happen to us. It's like being very naive. And ironically, that's what happens in human life. We don't even think about it. We simply rely on what people are telling us, what we are seeing, what our own fundas become in life, through our little bit of experience as well, and think that is be all and end all of all. It doesn't work that way. So let's move on. So we spoke now this trajectory of our life, our belief system is, our life, the trajectory of our lives is determined by the beliefs we hold in our intellect, right? Swamiji has said that when your beliefs are sound, productive, uplifting, and in alignment with divine knowledge, your life will be auspicious. Otherwise, you are living a life. It's a mundane life, and so much of binding karma we keep on accruing. We continue to be a mixed bag of doing things which are productive, unproductive, and that continues basically. Nothing can ruin us more in life more than our incorrect beliefs. Okay, it's very important. We think we walk by sight, but factually the course of our life gets determined by our beliefs. We are actually walking by beliefs, and we spoke about that every step of our life we are putting a belief. When we go out on the road, when we are driving, we have a belief that people are not going to run us over. When we board a plane, we have a belief the pilot is going to take us from point A to point B safely. When we go to a restaurant, we have a belief that somebody is not going to poison our food. How many failure points there could be there in a restaurant. When we go to a barber, we have a belief this guy is not weirdo and he's going to put the scissors at the right places, not close to our neck. So we exercise belief in every walk of life. Even scientists, for that matter, they have a belief that what they can empirically validate, or what their intellect, intellectually, what they can understand is what truth is. There's a belief. So it's very important. What you put in here is far more important than what you put in there. So we are feeding our mind, we are feeding our mouth, right? What are feeding our mind is way more important that we are putting inside our mouth. Okay? This is also kind of a stomach that is insatiable. It can absorb anything. But that needs to be corrected in order for us to lead an auspicious and a productive life, regardless of which profession, caste, creed, nationality, religion we belong to. Okay, because humans are humans. Let's move on. So we said that we spoke about the four categories of beliefs. Truth, on first hearing, you just relate to that knowledge. It makes sense. And then there are knowledge that you have to do a little bit of a contemplation. Okay, first time we hear we are a soul, it doesn't come naturally to us. So then you start, exploring this topic more. You look about people who talk about past lives, life regressions, and then intuitively you start understanding, hey, I'm different from my thoughts. I can observe myself. When you can observe yourself, that means you are different from what you are observing. Observer and object that is being observed, two different entities. So if you my body, you are not this body, right? You can have your, one of your body part. It could be even if it's different from you. You know that your thoughts. You can read your thoughts. Oh my God, my mind is this saying this, or it's happening to my mind. That means you are not your mind. You are different from your mind. And even the knowledge that gets activated. Sometimes your mind surprises you by giving a judgment about somebody without knowing them. And that can surprise you. That means you are not that. And then you say, oh my God, why did I think like that? Who is that I? Then intuition, through your discussion, contemplation, and deeply thinking about that topic, you come to a certain conclusion. That is a second level of faith you develop in that knowledge, right? Third is you realize after years of practice and purification, when we talk about love, when we talk about divine love, spiritual love, it's not something that will come intuitively to you. You will always think of it from a material consciousness, like the gopis' love for Krishna, or the leelas that Krishna, that those unfolded during those times. If you dissect it with your material intellect, you will not get that. But with years of experience, though, some of those concepts will start clicking in. Okay, the purity of love that we are talking about, right? People question that Krishna married so many, 16,108. What kind of a god was he? Right? We don't understand that we are talking about not a regular pati. He's a Jagat pati. He's already a pati of your pati, right? So he's simply giving a privilege to some purified souls who can actually be engaged in devotion and taken to the next level, right? Who is there who doesn't belong to him? But for somebody to be picked up as somebody that he wants to really take to himself, right? Those purified souls, there are very few privileged ones. So he chooses to become pati of them, right? So those concepts of pure devotion, pure love, those start revealing itself. So after years of practice and purification, when we say years, it doesn't mean one lifetime. It could take multiple lifetimes as well. But when we go deeper into that knowledge, it just starts clicking. And then there are concepts that we may never understand or realize. We just have to take it on the face value. And we spoke about, like, if you think a big monkey is flying over a ocean carrying a big mountain, I mean, you say, what kind of a fantasy is this, right? Just take it on the face value. A few things will come to know when we become God realized, it will just click. Like, for example, the entire cosmology that we look at, the entire universe or a multiverse theory, if you go to Bhagavatam, it will blow your minds off how big the creation is. Right? If you think about creation, our earth is not even a pebble or sand in a entire beach, not even that. Our entire solar system, I would say, forget about Earth, our entire Milky Way. Can we conceive it? Can we validate it? No, we cannot. We just have to take it on the face value for now, because that's what the scriptures are telling us. And scriptures, when we talk about, it's like cooked rice. Part of it is truth. Like, if this much of rice is cooked, you can safely assume rest of it is cooked as well. So it takes a bit of a faith there. Yes, Champaji, quick question before, or questions I would like to suspend towards the end, but if you have, yes, please go ahead. Quick one.
Please go ahead, Champa Patel ji.
Yes.
Radhe Radhe, can you hear us?
Champaji, we can't hear you.
Sorry, Champa ji, we are not
Okay,
able to hear you.
so
We'll check
we
you
can
at the
come
end.
back. Yeah, you can, maybe try to rejoin because we were not able to hear you, but let's continue and you can, just hold back your question for a little bit later. What faith can do? We said that even Bible says if you have faith worth a size of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. Okay, that is how powerful faith can be. And God says in Kathopanishad, it says if you have faith, you will attain God. Okay, that is all that is needed. Now let's build on this topic of faith a little bit furthermore. Wherever you place faith, that is how your life will be. We have seen that, like, we have put faith in the material world, right? Money, and that is where the knowledge comes in handy, right? So now some people have their value system determined from the knowledge that the more richer you become, the more successful you are, right? So then your actions would translate into the pursuit of money. You'll just keep going after that. Or some people, they think that happiness lies in television or watching web series over the weekend. Then they will invest their time like that. There are a lot of people who start on Fridays and then spend their entire long weekend playing video games. That's all they want to do. So all this stuff comes from the knowledge that you can actually derive pleasure from all these things, and that is where you start indulging or engaging in. Now we get pulled in many directions depending upon where we place our faith, or on the wrong path if we put our faith in bad company. Let's take it a little further. And I've shown this one. Our faith and belief drives our value system, that drives our action, and that drives our personality. And if we look at it, people around, there are people who would put faith in, like, thinking money, power, fame is what basically is important ingredient. It's something that is needed in life, and that is where their actions would translate to something. Party is the goal of life, something eating sumptuous food, trying new restaurants, new recipes, something retiring. I just want to enjoy my life after retirement. So they continue working hard with the belief that, okay, I'm going to read Bhagavad Gita and do a lot of enjoyment after I retire. Doesn't work like that. Something yardstick for life is to work hard and party hard. They're all belief systems, right? Some people think that there's a template life. If I'm in this age, I should be studying. By this age, I should be a doctor, engineer, or whatever it is. And then I have to settle down. I should have 2 kids, perfect family picture. And that is how a normal life is, right? So these are all belief systems. Some people think travel, getting experience is what the purpose of life is. And some people think I know it all. I don't need to know it from anybody else. So these are all belief systems. The point here is these are simply belief systems. Do they conform to scriptures? Yes, you might be learning some lessons along with the way, but if it is just limited to our sensual indulgence or catering to our mind and senses, then we are doing our own spiritual journey a great disservice. Okay. That is fine. We are all perfectly situated where we need to be. But the point is, make informed decisions. And that comes when we subscribe to higher knowledge and start understanding the deeper principles of life. Otherwise, our life will, rotate around these activities. End of the day, if you think deeply about it, it is simply limited to taking care of our desires, our senses, and trying to gratify them, satiate them, fulfill them, which doesn't happen. Intuitively, through your experience, you would know that we have still not realized or experienced that happiness that we always craved for. You thought after I'll become a senior in my school, I will attain it. Then you thought, no, after I crack a professional college, I'll attain it. Then you thought after I'll get into the job, then I'll attain it. Then somebody will tell you if you get to US, you will attain it. Then somebody will say, then after you get your green card or you get married, you will attain it. And then that circle continues. But the point is, nobody becomes satiated because scriptures are telling us if you go after any of these activities, you are trying to extract oil out of sand or ghee out of lime water, which is not possible. Okay. You cannot extract ghee or butter from lime water, although it looks white. So this is the hallucination Maya creates around us. And because of the lack of a better understanding or knowledge, we simply keep playing to that. Like there are three things that happen. Intent, everybody has good intent. Is anybody inherently bad? I mean, unless you are a psychopath or mentally deranged, you will not wish anything bad for anyone or for yourself. So intent everybody has, good intent. Where does the gap is? The gap is in the knowledge. For a lack of better understanding, we simply do what we know best is, right? World has told us this is where happiness is. Everybody around us does the same. And so do we start participating in it. And that's where the problem happens. It's the lack of knowledge, proper understanding. And of course, because of lack of knowledge, lack of faith comes. You don't have faith in the scriptural principles and trying to explore that aspect. So let's build on that a little bit more. Developing faith. Now, Lord Krishna is saying it could take many lifetimes to start developing faith. It is not something that comes. And even there are levels of faith that I'm going to talk about today. So it's not a unit step function. It's a journey that we are on. And let's look at some examples. We know God is Ghat Ghat Vasi, omnipresent. Right? One of the definition is He's omnipresent. We know that. We all know that, I believe. Then we know God is Antaryami, inner witness. We also know that God is ubiquitous, yeah. Sarvavyapak. So all these definitions, although we know, but do we believe in it? Do we have faith that God is truly like that? We can ask ourselves. In fact, it is said that now, if I think we've done this exercise previously, we said, okay, who of us, all of us, raise your hand who believe in God. So of course we believe in God. That's why we are here, right? We believe in divinity. Okay, Komalji raised her hand. She said, yes, I believe in God. Anybody who does not believe in God here? Can you raise your hand? No, you can raise it. That's fine. We'll keep it confidential. Okay, what gets discussed here stays here only. Okay. So if nobody raises, I'm assuming I'm doing a reverse poll. Okay, and that everybody believes in God. Now the scriptures say that the day you believe in God, you would have attained God. Okay, so from that definition, I don't think we quite believe as yet, right? So he says, when you truly believe in God, you would have attained him. This is how simple God realization is. Simple and yet difficult, right? Now, we know all that stuff. If we truly believe God is omnipresent, do you think anybody would commit any bad thought? Forget about committing a crime. We will not even harbor a negative thought because God is omnipresent. He knows the moment you have thought about something bad, he's already noted it down. Would you like him to note it down? See, when there was a guy who wanted to steal a car. So he was going around and he was planning to steal a car, pull off that robbery. And he started in his the plan early in the morning until he saw somebody else coming from the opposite direction whom he know. Oh my God, Sharma ji is coming here. So he postponed that plan. Why? Because somebody whom he knows is there. So presence of somebody else deterred him from doing something bad. So if we could truly believe God is present, we will not even think negative about anybody. Forget about gossiping, talking behind back, or having negative think about. We'll never do that, right? And bitterness and stuff, we will not harbor that. If God is Antaryami, like God says that don't harbor that. It's like drinking a poison. Why would we want to feed poison to God who's seated inside us? We'll not even have those kind of thoughts. So if you truly believed in any of these or you be questioned, right? He's Sarva Vyapak, we will not basically think of anything negative in our life at all, because God is our permanent witness. I'll tell you a story. It's a beautiful story about a Brahmin. This Brahmin actually borrowed money from a person, right? It used to happen in the past times. He borrowed money and he would regularly make payments along with interest to this guy. Until towards the end, this guy, from whom he had borrowed money from, rich guy, he refused. He said, "You have not paid me any money, and I want all my money back along with interest." Now, this guy was regularly making those payments. He was a very simpleton Brahmin. And he said, "No, you have not. You have to return my money." Apparently, he was not keeping records, okay, because this guy was a very simple guy, gullible guy. He did not know that, that he was not keeping and maintaining a record, and that could go against him. So the matter went to court. When the matter went to court, he was asked, "Okay, where have you paid the money? This guy has refused and you need to pay him back." He said, "I have paid all the money. I have made all the periodic payments and only the last one was pending and this guy refused." He said, "Can you bring in a witness?" Right? They need a witness. So he said, "Witness?" He said, "Witness is Thakurji. Only Thakurji is the witness. Where can he get a witness from?" He said, "Okay, now if you're telling the court has to go by its own rules, right?" So he said, "Okay, if Thakurji is, by the way, another name for Krishna, God." He said, "Only God is the witness here. Thakurji is the witness." He said, "Where does Thakurji live?" The judge asked, because court has to go by its own rules, right? You bring in a witness, you give me the proof. What is the address of Thakurji? For the, he didn't have a better understanding. He said, "All right, Thakurji, he said he stays in Banke Bihari." So they noted down in the court his address of Banke Bihari temple. Okay, so on the day of the hearing, of course, the day of the hearing, Brahman did not turn up. What happens is there is an old man who comes to the court and he produces a document which tells that, all the statements, basically the money that was paid on a particular date, the amount and the date to that guy. So the court verified that this guy's accounts and those money transactions were actually made exactly the amount that was being told, but under a fake name, fake account, that this is coming from somebody else. So court was able to validate, and the case was, this guy was convicted who had lied. But that God, so this guy had belief actually, and then God had to turn up. He does not let his devotees down. That is his rule, right? Even in Bhagavad Gita, he tells Arjun that in one of the shlokas, I've forgotten that shloka, where he tells Arjun that declare boldly that none of my devotees is ever lost. Now, one may question, why is Krishna not saying it himself? Why is he asking Arjun to declare it boldly to the world? That is because God may choose to break his own vow, but he will never let his devotee down. Okay, that is his rule. So when it comes to his devotee, he would take care of them. And that is why he's asking Arjun to declare it, not doing it himself, because occasionally there's an exception to the rule he follows. Like in the case of Bhishma, he break his vow of not lifting a weapon. Although technically it was not a weapon, but he actually lifted that wheel just to preserve the word of his devotee. So the point here is, now, by the way, that story continues. I will not get too deep in there. Then that judge got intrigued. He got intrigued and he actually checked out and he asked that Brahmin, who could that old man be? He said, if somebody came like that, it has to be Banke Bihari only. And it is said the judge, he gave up his job. He went to Vrindavan and he came to be known as a Pagal Baba afterwards. Pagal Baba, because he would collect money, not money, from the remnants of all the sannyasis who eat the food. He will collect it, eat part of it himself, and offer part of it to Krishna. And he came to be known as a Pagal Baba until one day they decided that, what kind of an activity this guy does. They came to know about it and said, we are not going to give him any food. So they did not leave him any food at all. He continued to wait until late evening and he did not get any food. And then finally, when they threw their plates out, he collected whatever was remaining of it, right? And then he was so hungry, he put it in his mouth. He put it in his mouth, and then it dawned on him, today, I was so hungry, I ate food, and I did not offer it to Krishna today. And he just kept it in his mouth, and tears started flowing down his cheeks. Right now, what to do with that? And then in the evening, a little boy comes to him, sits on his lap, opens his mouth, takes that food, and he said that Is this what, you were crying about? I have already taken it. So say Krishna manifested in front of him and took food from his mouth that day. This is how the legend goes. Now, the point here is that that whole thing that we know that he's inner witness, omnipresent, but we truly believe, hum jante hain, but mante nahi. That is the whole thing, right? We know, but we don't truly believe, because faith also has levels. Let's talk a little bit about that. God has used the word Shraddha here. In fact, maybe tomorrow I'll talk about the different levels of faith, right? Nishtha, Ruchi, Shraddha, all these words, they seem synonymous, but the level of faith keeps increasing in that. And the journey, the way it unfolds is, let's talk a little bit about it. See, this is how the faith goes. Now, here you see a girl who's curious. Okay, it could be a guy as well, by the way. Now, here is Bhagavad Gita. It all starts with, how does it start? When somebody picks up Bhagavad Gita, there is a basic level of faith. Right? There's a faith, that is why you pick it up. What is the faith? And then she may think that this book has some wisdom, that it is appreciated all around the world so much. That is why they pick it up. So that means there's a basic level of faith there. And it must have some substance. What is it? I want to know about it. Then that curiosity has come in. And if you go back to the shloka, Lord Krishna is saying, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. One who has faith, then they get knowledge. So how did it start? With some basic level of faith. Now, has it become Shraddha? No, but that level of faith has started moving the mountain already. That is what Bible is telling as well, right? It all started with faith. And Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Now, this will result in knowledge. And when you get knowledge, it's like medicine. When you have medicine, let's say you have headache and you have aspirin, and after 10-15 minutes, the headache goes. What happens? It reinforces your faith that this works. Same thing happens with this knowledge as well. You subscribe to this knowledge, it will give you more knowledge, and it will start seeing things, those knots in your head will start unraveling, and then it will reinforce your faith that, yes, now I'm, exploring something, implementing something, thinking about something that truly works. So where did it start from? Did it happen automatically? No, it started with faith. You started with faith, and that is what Lord Krishna is saying, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Now, it is not Shraddha as yet. Let's look at the levels of faith. Okay. So we have to take our level up depending upon where we are. The level one is, I believe in God. Many people have faith that God exists, right? And that's all. They say he exists, but I don't bother much about him. This is nominal theism, it is called. And unfortunately, that is where most people get stuck. Is my voice audio coming okay? Somebody can give me, okay, I see a few thumbs up.
Yes,
Good.
yes, Nitinji.
All right. Okay, so that's fine. I think I'm not going to put a request to Reliance anywhere, but as long as it sails through smoothly, that is fine. So level one is, I believe in God, but we don't do anything beyond that. What we want to limit itself, okay, God is there. He's taking care of me. Why do I need to explore this any further? And that is where their life stops. Or at best, they will say, okay, we do puja part. 2 times we do ghanti and done. Job is done, right? That is called nominal theism. Level 2 is when you start going to another level. You say God exists and he loves me. You have that faith. Now you are moving towards the next level. That's called advanced stage. Okay, you are not God fearing. So first stage is God acknowledging. There's an intermediate stage that comes, which is God fearing. Now you're scared. Oh my God, somebody is going to wield a stick on me if I don't do this, right? That is a God fearing stage. And a lot of people, they cap their life at that. And if you look at their faces when they go to the temple and doing some chantings, they are scared. Okay, if one mantra goes wrong, my hand goes wrong, something bad is going to happen. I mean, it's a good stage. At least we are acknowledging God, but we have to go beyond that as well. So then you come to a stage that God is there and he's a loving father. The next level is God exists and he loves me. I love him too. We have to inculcate that sentiment. And the perfection of my life is to serve him. When you get to that stage, that is the ultimate perfection of life. That is the purpose of our existence. We are an eternal part of him. Part has to serve the whole. Aren't we doing it? I mean, we look at our body, each part is serving our body. Hand is serving the mouth, stomach. Even in our companies, we are part of a whole, right? Whether you are a software engineer, whether you are a project manager, director, VP, CFO, CEO, CO, you are part of the whole. What is the whole? The enterprise. What are you doing? You're serving them. In the process, you are getting your salary. Right? So part has to serve the whole. So when we get to that understanding that we are part of the God and it's serving, we will get what we need, not serving our own self. And it's in developing that loving relationship will I achieve the purpose of my life, which is the ultimate happiness, happiness that never leaves, which is ever fresh, it's ever increasing. That is the ultimate perfection of life, and that level basically comes from Shraddha, deep faith that Lord Krishna is talking about. Okay, this is what Shraddha is. So it starts with faith, and then it goes on to the level of deep faith. You just know that this is what it is, and I need to build on that. Now, how does the love for God manifest? In form of our bhav, or the richness of sentiment that we bring to God. And I think in that respect, there's a beautiful short clip. I think Sandhya, you wanted to show Swamiji's clip. We wanted to look at it. What is that sentiment that God is expecting from us? When we get to transcend towards loving God and not fearing God, or not thinking about God as some internal, external entity and not knowing our relationship with Him. I think there's a richness of sentiment or bhav that God expects, and we'll show you a short clip around that. I'll stop share and then maybe you can show that quickly before we move on further.
Just give me a minute. I'm putting it on screen. In the meanwhile,
Okay, and by the way, we have a couple of participants as well who are going to talk about Gita Jayanti, how Gita has transformed their lives. So Pratyusha and Komalji, we are eagerly waiting for your video bites as well after this, but are you able to pull up that video or not yet?
yeah, now it's open. I'll start sharing the screen.
Nitinji,
Yeah,
it's
after this, we'll
Swamiji.
take a few
Let me
questions
read.
if you have, then sure. I'm going to stop share.
Let me also share the sound. Yeah.
भाव का भूखा हूँ मैं और भाव ही बस सार है। भाव से मुझको भजे तो भव से बेड़ा पार है। भाव बिन सूनी पुकारे मैं कभी सुनता नहीं। भाव की एक टेर भी करती मुझे लाचार है। भाव जिस जन में नहीं उसकी मुझे चिंता नहीं। भाव वाले भक्त का संपूर्ण मुझ पर भार है। भाव बिन सब कुछ दे डाले तो मैं कभी लेता नहीं। भाव वाले भक्त का एक पुष्प भी स्वीकार है। बांध लेते भक्त मुझको भाव की जंजीर में, इसलिए इस भूमि पर होता मेरा अवतार है। भाव का भूखा हूँ मैं और भाव ही बस सार है। भाव से मुझको भजे तो भव से बेड़ा पार है। भगवान भाव के भूखे हैं, आप भाव से खिलाएं, वो अवश्य आकर खाएंगे। और नहीं आए इसका मतलब हमारा भाव अभी नहीं है।
Okay, so for the benefit of only English speaking or English understanding folks, do I say Michelle? Okay. It's the bhav, that is the richness of sentiment that you bring to the table that God accepts, not other things. So you may prepare a 7-course meal for God, but if you don't have bhav, which is the richness of sentiment or love for God, He will not accept it. On the contrary, even if you are offering Him a small flower or a blade of grass, He would, or even water, but you are bringing it with a lot of love and richness of sentiment, He'll accept that. So that is the real thing when we talk about loving God or building that sentiment. The bhav aspect is very important. Right? There are so many stories. There's a Shabri story as well. She actually offered him something that was tasted by her to make sure it is sweet, and he accepted it. On the other hand, Duryodhan, he had arranged for a big, I don't know, 15-course meal or something like that, but he said, no, I don't want to go that. He rather chose to eat the banana peels that was offered to him by love, as opposed to all the delicacies that were served in front of him without any bhav or richness of sentiment. So the faith, see, where will the bhav come from? If you look at the whole linkage, you may say, where did I come to bhav? You have faith, right? Then you start acquiring knowledge, right? Knowledge leads to more faith leads to more knowledge, and then it basically culminates in devotion or love. And when you love somebody, when you are devoted to somebody, surrender automatically comes. And when you love somebody, it manifests in form of seva, or the things that you want to do for them. And that basically means that bhav will be a natural consequence of it as well, right? So they are all interlinked actually. These concepts are all interlinked, right? Knowledge leads to faith, faith leads to love, love leads to surrender, and the manifestations of bhav, different bhavs, which where there is no limit at all. So these concepts, even though we talk about different words, if you think about it, they all bind together. You can string them together. One leads to another kind of a deal, right? Any questions so far on what we have spoken about before we get into, how Bhagavad Gita has been transforming or changing lives? So Komalji and Pratyusha, we are going to give their testimonials. I'm eagerly waiting for that. But any questions in the meantime? Maybe a couple of questions we can take, and then we'll move on to that.
I see Shantiji's hand raised. Radhe Radhe
Radhe
Shantiji.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, good morning, Ji. I have one. I had one stuck in my mind when I used to go to one temple regularly for the last 10 years. It is the Venkata Perumal temple nearby my house. So
Mhm.
so suddenly when there was an issue came for me, then I suddenly went to Kaligambal, that is Durga temple. So nearby my office, there was a temple. So I used to go there and I used to come. So suddenly my mind got fear. I was, my entire mind got stuck with fear to go to the to go to Perumal temple, whether without believing him, that I'm going to the other temple. Like my mind was having a lot of conversation, contemplating the issues, like whether the God is having anger on me. So that's why because I used to go and cherish his face every day when I go to the temple. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I used to watch his face and I used to get that
Okay.
connectivity from him. But after getting this fear, whenever I go, I find that he is in anger with me. So I don't know whether it has been it is a wrong illusion which I have made on my mind.
True. Yeah. So let me explain you. I got a question. In Bhagavad Gita itself, Lord Krishna says, "Na dveshti, na priya." Some basically he goes on to say that nobody is my enemy or nobody is dear to me, right? Now, dear, he makes an exception, by the way. So the point here is God is equally disposed to everybody. He's not a vengeant father who's good, oh my God, I'm going to punish you and things like that. The problem here is that we are playing a perfect justice dispensing game with him right now, which is called law of karma. Now what happens? Somebody goes to God and says, "Oh God, if this happens, that happens, and I'll do this," and then it happens, right? Because of your prarabdha that it was meant to happen, and then the word starts spreading around. Go there, do that manna, then it'll happen. On the contrary, people go there and then something doesn't happen, and then somebody will feed that doubt in you. You know what? You did not do that, and your God is now angry with you, and that is why this is happening. And we believe in that. Fact of the matter is, everything is happening as per the perfect law justice dispensing system that we are whatever we have written for ourselves in our past life. Now we have to move from justice dispensing system, which is the law of karma, towards a mercy based system. Even in this world, there are three kind of relationships that are possible. First is injustice or exploitation, where we simply take, right? Second is justice, is whatever we do, the amount of salary we get. Justice, perfect justice. And that is the game we are playing with God right now, because we are not yet surrendered to him. From that justice dispensing system, we have to move towards a mercy based or a kripa based or a grace based system, which is by simply surrendering to God or building a loving relationship with him. But yes, you can fearlessly remove that doubt from your mind that God is angry with you. He doesn't. He's actually a benevolent father. He's waiting, to embrace us the moment we make, that personal relationship with him and make him a priority and surrender to him. So nothing to fear at all, to be honest. Whatever is happening is happening because it's meant to happen as part of our prarabdha, not because God has become angry with you. Or you can bribe him into doing something for you if you do puja or give him laddus. That also doesn't work. Okay, that's all our erroneous belief system because of which we fall into it. But we, as a devotee, you simply focus on building a loving relationship with God and how best I can serve him with the abilities that God has given you. Don't think about results. Don't think about what is in it for me. That is the whole idea. And then whatever happens, it's his wish. Simply have acceptance around it. But he's not angry, or it's not there. Nowhere in Bhagavad Gita God says, or in scripture says, if you don't do, I'll become angry and I'll punish you. Okay. Other than your own free will, exercise of your own free will in a wrong way, then the law of karma takes over. But other than that, there's nothing to fear about that. Hope that answers a bit of your question at least. Now, let's move on to any other questions before we move on to, or we can move on to our testimonials and we can come back if there are any more questions. So who wants to go first? Do we want to flip a coin, or Komalji, go ahead first. Okay, iPhone wants to ask something.
Yeah.
Komalji doesn't want to. Isha, go
No,
ahead
no, I
first
can go.
then.
I can go. I can go.
Oh, you can go? All right,
Yes.
please.
So, okay, am I audible to everyone? I don't know to everyone, but to Nitinji. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So, Radhe Radhe, everyone. So I joined Bhagavad Gita almost a year ago. Just little bit about my background. Coming from a Sikh family, I have no idea about scriptures, Sanatan Dharma, Vedas. No idea. In fact, in my whole life, I hardly went to temple. But I wanted to learn, I would say, Guru Granth Sahib Ji from someone. So my Sakhi, Mona, she told me that why don't you come for Bhagavad Gita if you want to learn, and Guru Granth Sahib and Bhagavad Gita both are very similar. So I followed. I was like, okay, whatever she says, and I joined Bhagavad Gita. Initially, I would say I was like a kindergarten student who don't know what teacher is teaching. So I have no idea what Nitiji is teaching about yogas, tamasic, rajasic, all those things. And I remember I used to call Mona every other day and asking her a lot of questions because I don't want to bother Nitinji. And she patiently answered everything for me. And I think slowly, I think she plays a very important role, I would say, in my spiritual journey. Whatever she told me to do, I was doing blindly. So she told me, watch Mahabharat, which I never saw in my life. I started watching, developing feelings for Krishna. Then I started talking to Nitinji, asking him some weird questions, and he patiently told me everything, what are scriptures and how other things. So somehow I started developing feeling for Krishna, falling in love for him. And I think things have changed. I never looked back. I can say I'm a better person. I'm very strong mentally, emotionally, and everything has changed for me in just 1 year. In fact, sometimes even I'm not sure if I see myself a year ago how I was. Now everything has changed, So I think Nitinji, you and Mona came as an angel for me, who pulled me from the darkness, teaching me everything, and understanding who I am. What is the purpose of my life. I can say now I'm definitely a soul, not a body, for sure. And the second thing is how to develop, how to surrender. When you talk about faith today, I can say I was in level 1 when I joined, before joining Bhagavad Gita, but now I'm at level 3. So I had that trust in God, but it was not a blind trust. So I don't know, I can't thank you both enough for giving me this opportunity. And, I don't know what to say, but yeah, I can say I'm definitely going to have a long, long journey. So I'll be your regular student now, and I'm no longer in kindergarten. So thank you so much for everything. And thanks for listening. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Komalji, for articulating so nicely how it unfolded for you. I'm glad you came here. Like I always say, I'm a facilitator. You built the hook to Swamiji, and the purpose of the session is served. And Monica, I always keep on saying she's earning a lot of spiritual commission. You've got friends who listen to you and who come, which is good. And when you start with a little bit of faith, the journey from faith, that initial faith to Shraddha and Nishtha is reinforced by Lord Krishna. Okay, he makes that happen. All we need is a little bit of faith and that drive spark, and Krishna takes over from that point onwards. Okay, he will make you hear those words, those things. Everything will start unfolding. So kudos to you for persisting with it, even though it might not have made sense to you to begin with, but it will eventually, and it doesn't take long before it starts clicking. I'm telling you that. Okay, that's for the even for participants who might be new, might be thinking, oh my God, what are they talking? So many concepts. How will I? You will surprise yourself in a few weeks' time by, these concepts will just start falling in place. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that, Komalji. And it's we are really, it's glad to have you on board, and like this journey will only keep on getting better. So thank you so much for that. Loved it. Now let's move to Pratyusha. Pratyusha, go ahead.
Radhe
What
Radhe
happened to
everyone.
Pratyusha?
No,
Radhe Radhe.
yeah, Radhe Radhe everyone. What Bhagavad Gita means to me. It's Krishna's words, and for me, he's become my armor, my shield, and it actually introduced me to Krishna. And I would like to say about the importance of knowledge. So all these classes, like past few days, what was happening, I feel like, oh, this is my journey. so okay, so a little bit background. Like I've been ardent devotee of Lord Shiva from age 4, and from at that young age, you don't know about what is bhakti and all of that. So he was my friend. So it just that friendship, I used to carry his shivlinga with me all the time. There was like zero second that he was not there with me. My pocket, my school bag, my under my pillow, wherever I'm, he is there. So like that, I used to my life was like that. And then, but what I lacked was knowledge. So I will tell you what happens when you don't have knowledge but you have faith. Okay, so when I grew up, okay, the friendship turned into love. But when I grew up, um, the environment that I got, in my college and office, I was surrounded by people with other faith, Christianity and Islam. So I saw them practicing sadhana bhakti, and my background in my family, nobody did that, and nobody knew this knowledge also. So we go to Bhagwan and we pray and we ask for things. But for me, that was not relevant because he was my friend. So it was just, and my another background was my parents were in army, so we were like shifting always. So my constant permanent friend was Shiva. So that was another thing. Anyway, so when this thing happened, that in my family, I mean, and not in my family, my friend circle and in my office and college, these people from other religions, they were doing the sadhan bhakti. I was getting attracted to that, and the things that they were quoting from their scriptures, also I don't know anything about my religion to even talk about it. I just had this friendship. Then a point in my life came where problems started coming, and when it started coming, I said, okay, let me ask Shiva to solve it. That was one of the rare time when I was asking, and there was no reply. There was no reply. There was, only quietness, and that just I just lost faith. I just said no. It's not. So that is what happens when you don't have faith. I mean, when you don't have knowledge. Then it carried on for like 7 to 1 year approximately, and then everything sorted out by itself. But I found a big guilt in me, mental block. Now that I cannot go back. I cannot go back to that old friendship that I had for so many years. And another beautiful thing happened was, I thought, okay, what I lack is knowledge. Somewhere in my mind said, I want knowledge. And I got into one shop and I saw Bhagavad Gita and I took it. And that was Bhagavad Gita as it is. And, I tried to read it, but it was bouncing over my head. I couldn't understand anything. And the mental block and not understanding anything, and it continued for 6 to 7 years. In the 7 years of my life, I was missing Shiva like anything, and that was a point where I attached my mind unknowingly to Shiva. I couldn't get back, but I wanted to. That I cannot emphasize why Ravana got moksha is because he keep your enemy in your mind always more than your friend. And I had this deep yearning to go back to my that friendship, and I was not able to. And then I was struggling and struggling and struggling, and one day I got over it, and I said to my husband, I will not go to temple also during those times, and I will just sit outside. And I told, what, I feel like Shiva is back in my life. And the very next day, I got a call from my friend in India. I said, you want to study Bhagavad Gita? And the only thing I was carrying it, and I was interested. I says, yes. And what is the time? Because I had a child, and I'm in US, and the class was happening in India on Zoom. So I said, yeah, I will do it. She said it's 7:30 your time in the morning. So I said, yeah, of course I can do it. And because I said it one day before that Shiva is back in my life, and the next day I got the call, I thought this is a sign, and I put my, my life, I was preparing for an exam. I don't know who all I heard, or who all I did. I started making notes, and, those, I cannot tell you how much desperate I was. I just hooked onto the knowledge. Like my life depended on it. And I got opportunities, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my parents, they were all in the same, asking for God. They don't know what it truly means. And I got this opportunity to learn myself by, explaining that to them. And I still feel that I have only maybe made a scratch on the surface, but I am so blessed. Then after studying this, I wanted to study Bhagavatam. That also one day came to me like this, study, and I got the books and all that. And again, that was from ISKCON. I couldn't understand, and I was trying to study it, and I was desperate. I don't know. I don't find any classes also. And then, Nitin sir entered. He his classes gave me in is still giving me so much solid background into this, and I think it is all, God's blessing, and that is these things are coming to me. And it is he's my shield now. If anybody tries to tell about their religion or anything, I have a solid support, a solid base on which I can build my faith. So then, Ritin sir introduced me to Radha. So that was an amazing experience. I have tried chanting her name, and I feel that the importance of knowledge in one's life, especially the divine knowledge, it helps you understand yourself. That 7-year mental gap, mental block that I had would have never happened if I had the background, knowledge. And also this I have made my the motto of my life is to the shuddhikaran of my antakaran, and I'm going to try it, and so that even if I have next so many lifetimes, this thing will not happen to me. And I think Krishna, I got introduced to Krishna. The love that I have for Shiva, I cannot explain it. I have the same or more, I don't know how, towards the Krishna. So again, I got it from Nitin sir. It's like Krishna wearing an official dress and coming, as Shiva. So I see now every god like that. No difference. I love them all, and they are Krishna. So that's my small thing.
Thank you, Pratyusha. I think your journey is very, very relatable. Those 7 years that you keep talking about, I think that only fueled the thirst in you, right? You are missing something deeply, right? That your yearning, actually, that yearning was getting more sharpened and during those 7 years, and that was the plan of the grand plan that was unfolding, I believe. But yes, I'm sure your story is very relatable to a lot of us. how it works, right? When we go to God and we get disappointed, and then we go through that journey. And more importantly, the fundamentally, when we don't get answers in our own religion, we look at, maybe other people have cracked the code and we are missing something and we don't know anything, right? That is where, when this treasure chest of knowledge opens up for us, we see, how much possibilities it opens up for us, right? It's like amazing. But yeah, very, very nice. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure, this transformation, or the fact that you're loving Krishna, same as Lord Shiva, basically tells you it's going to organically happen. Your father has just changed his dress, or he keeps switching between the dresses. So if that concept is clear, I think that is all is needed, basically. But thank you so much for that, Pratisha. It's a pleasure to have you on these sessions. And your inspiration is very infectious, I must say that, right? So keep up the yearning part of it, and then I think we have a wonderful group and a great study circle, and we can go from strength to strength from here on. Thank you so much for that. I'm sure a lot of people would like to talk about it, a couple of testimonials that went. I would encourage all of you to fill out the feedback tracker. If it's, can you please post it if not already? Especially if you are new to these sessions, and if you have any questions, please fill it out. That way we can always have an offline conversation on some of the questions that have always been on their minds, or I can direct you to resources that can help you find answers to those questions. We can probably take a couple of hands. I have a hard stop in another 5 minutes. Okay, so let's take Ipshitaji.
Go ahead,
Yes, please go ahead.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. So I just want to share that in last 1 year, I don't know how I came into spirituality. I don't remember, but yes, a big transformation has happened, because previously I was in 3 professions. Like I was a professional painter, I was a filmmaker, means a film director in Bengali films, and my main profession was I was an advocate of Calcutta High Court, and I was very much into that. But last year, I don't know how it happened that I left everything and came into spirituality. And then after, as the days went by, I went on getting more into that. I just wanted to know what was there in Gita. I wanted to know what was there in Bhagavatam. So I don't know how Krishna graced me. Whatever I wanted, I got it in YouTube, the first feed, the YouTube channel. And maximum was from Swamiji and from Maharajji. So this all started this way. Then I gave a call to JK Katak. Then I told them that I want to take Diksha from Swamiji. They said, no, there is no Diksha system here. But I insisted, no, I have to, you have to, give me that permission. I will take Diksha. So they said, no, you first go on through this. You will know what is the system, and then everything will get cleared. Then I went on insisting them. Then they said, see, Maharajji was also never gave Diksha to anyone. I said, okay, is it that? Then I went on seeing all the videos, and all this Diksha concept became very clear to me. And then gradually I was introduced in the JK Yoga online classes, and then to this class, thanks to Samji, and then to the Bhagavatam class. But this Gita class helped me such a way that previously I used to think that I was a bhogi, and then suddenly I became a tyagi. But yesterday from your lecture, that very lecture I have heard from Maharajji so many times, but it clicked my mind yesterday only when you said that we were actually tyagi, and now we became bhogi. Okay, so it clicked my mind in that way, and I'm so thankful to you all that all your sharings and everything is enriching me to get more close to Krishna. And actually, in my childhood days, I was used to play with Krishna. I don't know how, but my parents used to tell me that you used to play with Krishna. And the first painting I did was of Krishna. Okay, so I don't know, I didn't see any picture of him. But the painting which I did, my mother said it is Krishna. My father also said it is Krishna. And that painting is still there in my paternal house. Okay. So this way it carried. Then after 3 to 4 years of my schooling, I means in 3 or 4th standard, I left everything. And then again, I came back. Okay. So, and this class has helped me so much that these very subtle things, it is so really very real to our life, but we don't understand those things. But if our the devotees like you all, if you tell us and how it changes within a second, that yes, we were actually Tyagi and now we became Bhogi. And so it is really, means I don't want to miss this class wherever. Even when I was with Swamiji, I said, I will attend this class. He said, okay, you go on. I was attending the class and together I was with Swamiji. So it's really, really a great help. And even my son is also
That's so
getting,
wonderful, Lipsita ji. So wonderful.
yeah.
So, yeah, let me take the other
My
hand.
son is also, is joining. He will be joining after CBSE.
Wonderful,
So,
wonderful. That's so amazing.
yeah.
That's so amazing.
Thank you,
Thank you
Ipshita
so
ji.
much.
I can see you have so much to share, and I must tell you one more thing. The example that you spoke about, which kind of clicked to you yesterday, I don't know where those examples come. I had no plan to talk about that example, but Maharaj ji feeds it just at the right time because he knows now this thing might click to somebody. And I have heard it from so many participants, something that I've not planned, and that just comes out and you speak about it, and somebody says, exactly, that's what I wanted to hear. So I know there's that's why I always say, Karte ho tum Guruji or Kanhaiya. That aspect is happening. And that's why I don't plan for a session. I just do it, and then things just come. And then these kind of examples are so reassuring to know that there is a divine hand which is helping out, and that motivates us also to come forward and share our own experiences, each one of us, and make this whole session a very enriching one. So thank you so much, Ipshita ji. For Jan, we'll take the last hand, Shri Ramya ji, and then I'll have to rush. So yes, Shri Ramya, go
Ramya
ahead.
ji, if you can be
And
real
tomorrow
quick.
we will continue on this session. Please, please,
Yeah.
please fill out a feedback tracker if not already, and then we'll take it on from there. Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
Shri Ramya.
Yeah, I wanted to say after listening to Pratyusha ji's story that we have been getting this knowledge and I've been taking it for granted. And the mistakes that I made, I specifically want to tell them mistakes because everybody tells about the story wherein they grew. The mistake that I made was few classes. I was thinking, it's a repeat. It's okay. I've already heard this. And now after listening to Pratyusha ji's story and when I'm getting disconnected and connected again, I feel that, oh, it is such a divine knowledge. It's so rare. And I've been taking it for granted, and that that just struck me somehow. I wanted to say, and I'm very grateful to be here. I'll be here regularly. This is my soul soup, and I just wanted to say thanks. That's it. Radhe
Thank you,
Radhe.
Shri Ramya. Yes, you've never heard it enough. Let's keep that. I mean, there are times when you would have heard, okay, Karam Yoga is happening again. We have heard this. Trust me, we don't get the true import. It's a very sentient knowledge, and we would have never heard it enough. I'm telling you, until we become waterless. That is how powerful this knowledge is. And thank you again for making it such an engaging and an interesting session every day. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We'll continue on this topic. I think there'll be one more session on this particular shloka before we graduate to the next one. So thank you again. Seva scoreboards, we can probably do it tomorrow or maybe the next forward session. Today we have run out of time. So thank you very much again. And Radhe Radhe, good night, good day from my side. I'll see you all
Thank you so
tomorrow.
much.
And thank you, Pratyusha, and thank you,
everyone.
Komalji, for your beautiful testimonials and coming forward and sharing your experience. That does wonders for a lot of people for sure. Thank you so much for that. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, everyone. Radhe Radhe.